In other news, it's been reported this week that Harry and Meghan have attended the Bob Marley film premiere in Jamaica. Do we know how that trip came about?
Well, quite unexpectedly, I think. Nobody expected them to pitch up in Kingston, Jamaica, nice little holiday spot for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But they were actually invited by the film premiere's producers. The production team thought that they'd be a fantastic addition for the premiere. But it really did set tongues wagging, because not only were they sort of pictured on the red carpet — this is very much a period where we expect them to be invited to, the big premieres, the big shows, the big award shows. However, they were pictured with the Jamaican Prime Minister, Andrew Holness. And if you remember, he was the man at the centre of the big scandal when the Prince and Princess of Wales went to Jamaica in 2022, when they were the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, of course. And he basically said, don't get too comfortable here. This will be the last time some members of the royal family come whilst we're still having a relationship before we become a republic. So very interesting that Harry and Meghan would put themselves at front and centre, not only at this event whilst the King and the Princess of Wales are in hospital, but to be pictured alongside such a divisive figure as Andrew Holness. And what that means for the relationship with the British monarchy was quite controversial indeed. I mean, to be fair to Harry and Meghan, some people will say they're more than entitled to go to these sorts of events. Damned if they do, damned if they don't, I suppose. But certainly controversy rages whenever they're involved, I think.
And there was a bit of critique around this. That's absolutely true. But is there really any substantive point to be drawn from this, though?
Well, it's interesting. I'm sure that the King and his advisors are looking at the issues of republics, and certainly it is on the rise, not only just at home but abroad. We're looking at sort of the Canadian levels of people who would potentially vote to ditch the monarchy. That is definitely happening in Jamaica. Antigua and Barbuda have signalled their intent to follow suit. And Andrew Holness has really been at the centre of this movement. It has been delayed over the last couple of years, but he was very, very much of the thinking once the late Queen passed away, there wouldn't really be a pace for Jamaica to have a relationship with King Charles. Now, that has stalled over the last few months, but I'm told by people in the country that there is an appetite to get that moving. Then the very fact that Harry and Meghan would be pictured with Andrew Holness sort of hobnobbing in that sort of arena really does beg the question of whether that was a good idea from them at all. But like I said, they are in a sort of brand new world of celebrity, and some people would say damned if they do, damned if they don't. So but possibly a bit unfortunate for them, or maybe they should have known better.
Meanwhile, Prince Edward is on an official visit to St Helena. Now, can you tell us the purpose of this trip? And is it unusual that Edward is the one representing the family?
Well, I think you look at the current context of the King not being around, Prince and Princess of Wales not being around, a bit more focus possibly on the sort of fringe royals, as it were. We also obviously know that Princess Anne is out and about an awful lot of time, just come back from Sri Lanka on a successful tour. But this trip for Prince Edward, the new Duke of Edinburgh, of course, been in the job a little while now. It was quite interesting because St Helena is sort of thousands of miles away from anywhere. And flying there on private jet, obviously on business on behalf of the British government and representing the monarchy. Of course, it is a British territory as well. But I think the spotlight came on Edward this week because there was questions asked about the very fact that we are talking about a slimmed-down monarchy. We are talking about the King Charles telling the other members of the family that he does want to slim it down, budget cuts, everyone tightening their belt. What was Prince Edward doing there, and what sort of benefit does the British taxpayer and beyond get out of these trips? I suppose it's a debate for the money men and the Republicans among us, but interesting that more focus has been put on Prince Edward, and maybe he will be elevated to a bit of a more central role now that the sort of main players are out of action, as it were.